Welcome back. In this video, we're going to cover the exercise, Create New User Accounts. Our objective for this exercise is to create 2 new user accounts, one for Jason Murray and one for Hana Jones. For each new user we create, we'll define a password for that user and grant them access to the default Livingston site. Your first step will be to create a user account for Jason Murray. Then you'll define a password for Jason and grant Jason access to the default site. You'll repeat the same steps for the second user. You'll create a user account for Hana Jones, define a password for Hana, and grant Hana access to the default site. As a bonus exercise, you can create a new user account for yourself. You can grant your user account the regular administrator role. You can also add some contact information in the Contact tab of the user account page, and you can change your preferences in the Preferences tab of the user account page. To begin, sign in to LifeRay if you're not already signed in as an administrator. Next, open the LifeRay menu and click on Control Panel, Users, Users and Organizations. Click on the Add button at the top right part of the page to add a new user. Enter j.murray for the screen name and jason.murray@livingston.com for the email address. And enter Jason for the first name and Murray for the last name. Then click Save at the bottom of the page. We need to choose a password for Jason. Click on Passwords at the left menu. You can choose any password you like. I'm going to use Test for simplicity's sake. Repeat the password in the Enter Again field. And then click Save. Now we need to grant Jason access to the default site. Click on Memberships in the left menu. Click on Select next to Sites. And choose the default Livingston Hotels and Resorts site. Then click Save. Next, we're going to create a second user account for Hana Jones. Go to Control Panel, Users, Users and Organizations again. Click on the Add button at the top right part of the page to add a new user. Enter h.jones for the screen name and hannah.jones@livingston.com for the email address. Enter Hannah for the first name and Jones for the last name. Then click Save at the bottom of the page. Now we need to choose a password for Hannah, so click on Password in the left menu. Again, I'm going to use the password test for simplicity's sake. Repeat your password in the Enter Again field, and click Save. Next, we need to grant Hana access to the default site. Click on Memberships in the left menu. Click on Select next to Sites. Click on the Livingston Hotels and Resorts default site, and click Save.